What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Dude Ranch DIY. My name is Jake.
And I'm Chris.
And we are out here in the Woodyard. We got the burn barrel burning up all the scraps. Got an empty top right there. Two empty tops underneath the East-made log splitter. We got an empty tote and a bunch of wood already bucked up. Now, a lot of this stuff, if you remember, I kind of said in that last video I was splitting it. That's not 16 inches, is it?
No.
What does that look like to you?
Looks like a landscaper 16.
That looks like a blind landscaper 16 to me. This one, I don't even know. I guess they might have just forgot to cut that one up. So, what we're going to be doing here is we got maple and we got white oak. We're going to try and split up all this maple first. You know, I like to keep my species separate, especially if it's oak, you know, versus ash or maple or something like that. Oak takes a lot longer, especially white oak. So we're just going to, you know, make our way through all these rounds here. Some of them are pretty nasty, big, crotchy chunks, but we'll see how the 7-weight box wedge on the East-made does. Now, there have been videos going around, Chris, have you seen them, where people are sharpening their box wedges?
I have not seen them, but I do know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of times from manufacturers, they do not actually sharpen the blade.
Yeah, they kind of dull them down a little bit. Yeah, they dull them
down for the final user to either sharpen them or not hurt themselves.
Right. Now, I've seen the people that have been doing this, like Heath over at Hardworking Man, and I believe Shibe did as well. They have the 1222 Easton-Mades. This is a 2228, and from what I could gather in hearing from Andrew, you know, talk about the wedges and the whole sharpening versus not sharpening, I heard that the 1222 is a great splitter. It can push through a lot of stuff as long as you're a little bit particular in how you know, place it on the box wedge. You know, it'll go through it, no problem. You just have to like kind of think about it. I also heard that the 2228 simply doesn't care. You can just push right through it. Now that being said, it's got a lot more power, but I also think that maybe sharpening the box wedge at some point might help tear the wood less and more cut it instead of like tear it, giving us an overall like nicer looking piece of firewood. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that?
It might look a little bit nicer, but I'm wondering if that little bit of fray on the outside aids in catching
fire starter, almost like built-in fire starter. That's something to consider. So these are just things that I think about throughout the day, and I guess I felt the need to tell you guys today. So let me know what you think of all that in the comments section. Should we consider sharpening the box wedge on the 2228, or do you simply just think it doesn't care, it's going to push through it regardless? Yeah, maybe it'll be nicer looking wood, but to Chris's point, it's kind of like built-in fire starter. So with that being said, we're going to fire everything up and get going here. We got a bunch of empty totes over there, and I just made contact with a new source. He says he probably has about 10 for me to come pick up. So I'm going to try and pick those up tomorrow, but here we go.
All right, guys, slight change of plans. All this wood closest to the splitter is kind of junk wood. Not junk in the sense that we're going to get rid of it, but junk in the sense that it's not going to go through the box wedge all that well. So Jake and I are trying to figure out a way to get this box wedge out now with the tractor, but it's not looking like we have the clearance from the backside, so we might just have to muscle man movers this out of here. We're going to toss on the 6-way and get all this big ugly stuff out of our immediate splitting area, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, Chris clearly didn't want my help on that one. He just picked up the 6-way and put it on in. So yeah, obviously we decided to throw in the 6-way wedge. We have not used that on this machine yet. I think most of this wood, being as gnarly as it's probably going to come out, we will likely be just putting it in a tote for my own personal use. So that's kind of what we're doing. Chris just got the first gnarly crotch piece on there, and we're going to give this 6-way a try.
was no time trial on this wood, but we got this crate filled lickety split. Think it might have taken 4 rounds from our garbage wood. This machine, I don't know if you guys were paying that close attention, but these logs are gigantic. They are immensely heavy and huge crotches. This machine just powers right through it. Impressive, very impressive. Easton Made 2228 powers through it all. I'm going to put a little perspective on this one, guys. That's a 25-inch bar, and this is the flush cut of that twin stem oak that was in the Woodyard. The last one, we're about to load it up onto the Easton Made 2228, and we're going to show you just how powerful this thing is, busting it right through the six-way and these two giant, gnarly crotches. I don't think it stands a chance.
We have found the unsplittable piece. The first unsplittable piece of, I'm sure, many, but this machine has been pretty nuts. He's getting it. You want me to hit it on this side? Swap.
I guess I was wrong, guys. Easton Made didn't have the cojones to bust through this gigantic flush cut. What a terrible product.
Really on there, boys. It's coming. It's coming. Hold on, hold on.
Put a little baby log on the backside to finish splitting through the stop part. Oh no! That conveyor won't do that. I don't think we're going to be taking any 30-inch pieces anymore. This one we kind of didn't have a choice with, but that's all right. We live and we learn.
right, guys, we just split up 2 totes of wood for myself. Let me repeat, all of that wood is going to be for my own personal use burning. That was the nasty crotch pieces, you know, going every which way. And I thought for a second there that we found the limit of this Easton Made 2228, and I think we did to a certain regard, but boy were we wrong.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think that was operator error.
Definite operator error. And I think we had the wrong wedge for that size piece. I think if we had the tall 4-way.
Tall 4-way would be ideal in this, just this whole splitting session would have been ideal to have the tall 4-way for this big, gnarly, knotty stuff. But that being said, this thing is very powerful, guys. Like, extremely powerful. Just the fact that it was splitting, not only the fact that it was splitting those pieces, but the speed at which it was splitting those pieces, I was impressed by how fast it was still going.
Yeah, it just kept on going, kept on pushing, didn't want to stop.
And the detent, I could count how many, maybe 5 times the detent, I felt it like pop back in my hand. That was amazing. And I feel like the quality, where are those 2 totes? I feel like for what we were feeding into that thing, now granted, on those big crotches, there's a lot of good straight grain wood on the outside. But like, you know, this stuff, that's not, you know, all terrible wood. You know, that's maple. Okay, here is clearly a crotch. Look at the grains. There's grains going left, right, up, down, all over the place. But that's still a pretty manageable piece of wood for me to burn, at least in my wood stove. Would I ever sell this stuff to people? No, I mean, not unless they specifically asked for like boiler wood. I would almost consider this like finely split boiler wood. But there are definitely some boiler wood pieces in there. For sure. You know,
it's just so small that you can get with crotchy pieces, because the way that the fibers grow within those crotches, there's no straight shot. You have to shear through them.
Right, and sometimes it just pops out of the wedge. There were a couple pieces where I tried putting them through 2-3 times and it just kept popping out. Just, you know, it not that the splitter didn't have the power to do it. It was just the angles of everything was just off. But I mean, this, like, look at that. That grain is pretty crazy. So needless to say, I'm pretty pleased with the results of that splitting session. The 6-way is probably not probably not best suited for the type of firewood that we make, being the smaller, you know, recreational burning wood. I think it definitely takes a lot of re-splitting to get the pieces down, but even re-splitting into that cradle, you just kind of throw 3 or 4 big pieces in there and shoot for the moon. It's gonna split it one way or another. If you got to recycle it back, it's a pretty fast splitting cycle at that point. It almost really doesn't matter, but I mean, at least with the boxwood, you know that you're getting those consistent pieces every time. So
it just really goes to show too, the better the wood you put in, the better the wood that comes out. Can we take it easy,
girls? We have a full-on dogfight here, a Rottweiler versus a blind and deaf Labrador Corgi mix. Those are Chris's girls. Yeah. God bless them.
They're good. It's not a true dog fight for those of you who are concerned.
It is not a true dog fight. They're both angels. They're just playing. So sorry, I interrupted you.
It really goes to show, the nicer the wood you put in, the nicer the wood comes out. The crotchier, nastier, larger stuff you put in there, the uglier the wood. But the ugly wood does still burn. It does still have a purpose, and we are not ones to just throw it away.
Right. And for my purposes, and I'm sure a lot of you guys' purposes that do firewood, I like the crotches. I like the nasty pieces, the bigger chunks, because it's less times I have to refill the wood stove. I mean, there's something to be said for stacking in, you know, a perfect Tetris of, you know, beautiful oak square logs, and that'll burn for a long time too.
Yeah, but over the winter, Jake came into work. He said, dude, I just pulled out an old tote, beautifully split wood, beautifully split oak. It is so different from splitting or from burning all of those crotchy cut off pieces.
Right.
Beautiful experience, a nice treat at the end of the season.
Yeah, I was like, I'm really treating myself. But I think my biggest reason why I viewed it as being so much easier is because, as you guys know, or if you've been following along, go way back, I have a video where I show how I do my firewood, and I literally drive a full IBC tow into the barn doors of my basement. So then all of that wood, albeit I can go down in my underwear or butt naked in the middle of the night, it's because it's inside, it's warm, it's not going to get wet, but I have to go up those stairs, and I have, you know, 2 of those log carrier, you know, like the LL Bean style log carriers, and the nicer you can stack the wood in there, the more you can bring up. So these crotchy, you know, nasty, you know, obscure pieces, I can only really bring up 2, 3, maybe 4 at a time in each thing. So it was just nice being able to bring up nice, straight Lincoln logs, for lack of a better term. But enough chatting here. Do you have anything else to say about this thing? I mean, I was impressed.
Yeah,
I was very impressed.
I'm still dumbfounded by this machine. It continues to go above and beyond what we ask it to do, and it won't stop.
Yeah, I mean, this thing, I think Andrew hit the nail on the head when he said that the 22.8 just doesn't care. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like this one, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. We've been getting a ton of new subscribers. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Go back in the archives. We got a lot of great videos out there.
Just a refresher, hit that comment section with if we should shave down the wedges.
Right. See, this is why I keep them around. Should we sharpen the box wedges, the 6-way wedge? Let us know in the comment section. But for now, I'm Jake.
And I'm Chris.
This is Dude Ranch DIY. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you here next time.